Hello everyone, welcome to Brain Blitz Audios. Today in this episode of Cbse board exam, we'll be continuing the discussion for the sample paper for the year 2021. So we'll be discussing the sample paper for the year 2021, which is released for mathematics. So this is the third video regarding the sample paper, and in this video we'll be talking about the unique section that the Cbse has released this year. This is section 2. So the sample paper released by Cbse has a unique section called section 2, and in this section we have 2 case study based questions, and both of these questions are compulsory. You need to attend any 4 of the 5 subparts for both the questions, and each of these questions carries 1 mark. So you get a total of 8 marks in this section. In the last video, we've talked about the first case study question for the sample paper. Today we'll be looking at the second case study, and this one is about probability. In an office, 3 employees, Vinay, Sonia, and Iqbal, process incoming copies of a certain form. Vinay processes 50% of the forms, Sonia processes 20%, and Iqbal the remaining 30% of the forms. Vinay has an error rate of 0.06. Sonia has an error rate of 0.04, and Iqbal has an error rate of 0.03. Now, based on the above information, we have to answer the 5 questions. But before we go there, we'll just note down some terms. Since this is probability, let's identify the event A as the event where Vinay processes the form, and the event B will be the event where Sonia processes the form, and in event C, Iqbal processes a form. And the probabilities are given in percentages, so we can write P of A as 50 by 100, which is 5 by 10, which is 1 by 2. I'll just write all of these values because all of these will be very important. P of B is 20 by 100. This is for Sonia. That is 2 by 10, which can be written as 1 by 5. And P of C, that is for Iqbal, it'll be 30 by 100, which becomes 3 by 10. So these are the probabilities given. And then we can identify one more event, that is E, as the event where an error occurs in the form. So now let's go and answer the following questions. The first question is that the conditional probability that an error is committed in processing, given that Sonia processed the form, is, and we have 4 options. So if you look at the question, it asks about conditional probability, so therefore any event given that any other event has taken place. So an error is committed in processing. So when an error is committed, the probability is E. Now, the given event is that Sonia processed the form. So that is P of E given B. So this is the value. Now, this conditional probability is the same as the error rate for Sonia. And if we look back into our question, you see that Sonia has an error rate of 0.04. So therefore, P of E given B, that is the conditional probability that an error is committed in processing given that Sonia processed the form, is 0.04. So option B becomes our right answer. Now in this question itself, let's write it down for the other terms. P of E given A, that is when Vinay does it, that means we'll write Vinay's error rate, so that is 0.06. And P of E given C, this is for Iqbal, and for Iqbal the error rate is 0.03. So this is the same conditional probability terms, but for the other people. So this is a big note. Now you don't need to write this, you just have to write 0.04 and you'll get your answer. Now let's look at the second question. The probability that Sonia processed the form and committed an error is. So here the crucial term is the word and. And implies that both events take place simultaneously. So when this happens, what we have to do is we have to multiply the probabilities of both the events. Basically, we need to multiply the error rate with the probability that Sonia processed the form. So now this effectively becomes 20% times 0.04, which is 20 divided by 100 into 0.04. 20 times 0.04 is equal to 0.8. That divided by 100 gives us our answer, which is option C, 0.08. The probability that Sonia processed the form and committed an error is the multiplication of both the probabilities separately, and the value for that probability is 0.008. Now let's look at our third question. The total probability of committing an error in processing the form is. So, how do you solve this question? If you look at the previous question, in order to find out the probability that Sonia processed the form and committed an error, we multiplied the probabilities of these events, both processing the form and committing an error. So, in this question, what we're going to do is we will multiply the probabilities of both events for all three people, then we add them up. So basically what we're doing is we're going to be multiplying P of A times P of E given A plus P of B times P of E given B plus P of C times P of E given C. So now this we can write it down as 50% into 0.06 plus 20% into 0.04 plus 30% into 0.03. So over here, we'll be writing down 50 by 100 into 0.06 plus 20 by 100 into 0.04 plus 30 by 100 into 0.03. Again, we'll just start multiplying them. 50 times 0.06 is equal to 3.0 divided by 100 plus the second part we already did. It's 0.8 divided by 100 plus the third part is 0.03 times 30. That is 0.9 divided by 100. Now let's add the numerators. So the denominator is the same 100 and the numerator is 3.0 plus 0.8 plus 0.9. That will be 4.7 divided by 100, which we can write down as 0.047 or 4.7%. So 0.047 is the right answer, and the correct option is option B. Now the next question is, the manager of the company wants to do a quality check. During inspection, he selects a form at random from the day's output of processed forms. If the form selected at random has an error, we need to find the probability that the form is not processed by Vinay is. Once again, you see that the not is highlighted. So here we have to do some tweaking. So in this question, we need to find the P of form has error, given that Vinay didn't process the form. In order to find out this probability, what we do is we subtract the probability that form has error given that Vinay processed the form from the total, which is 1. So 1 minus P of form has error given that Vinay processed the form. Basically, this is 1 minus P of A given E. That means this has to do with the Bayes theorem. So now we'll use the Bayes theorem in order to find out P of A given E. P of A given E is P of A times P of E given A. Again, this is the notation that we're using, but what we discussed in the beginning. Again, over here, P of A into P of E given A plus P of B into P of E given B plus P of C into P of E given C. So these are the values. Now what we do is we put in the values. P of A is 50%. Here we'll write it as 5 by 10 times 0.06 divided by 5 by 10 into 0.06 plus for B it will be 2 by 10 into 0.04 plus 3 by 10 into 0.03. There's a good reason why we're writing the probabilities like this, because now what we can do is we can eliminate 10 from both the numerator and the denominator. So we get 5 into 0.06 divided by 5 into 0.06 plus 2 into 0.04 plus 3 into 0.03. 5 into 0.06 is 0.3 divided by the denominator is 0.3 plus 2 into 0.04 is 0.08 plus 3 into 0.03 is 0.09. Now we can write this as 0.3 divided by the denominator will become 0.47. Now what we do is we just multiply by 100 on both sides and we get 30 by 47 as our P of A given E. Now the probability that we have to find out is 1 minus P of A given E. So 1 minus P of A given E is equal to 1 minus 30 by 47. That is, you can just calculate it and you will get your answer as 17 by 47. So option D, 17 by 47 is our answer. Now let's look at our final question. In the final question, it says that let A be the event of committing an error, and let E1 be the event that Vinay processed the form, E2 be the event that Sonia processed the form, and E3 be the event that Iqbal processed the form. So for this particular sub-question, the notation of the events now changes. Now, in this question, we have to find the value of the sum of P of EI given A from I is equal to 1 to I is equal to 3. So what does this term signify? So the summation term signifies that we have to find out P of E1 given A plus P of E2 given A plus P of E3 given A. This is with respect to the new notation. Now, P of E1 given A can be written as P of E1 into P of A given E1 divided by P of E1 into P of A given E1 plus P of E2 into P of A given E2 plus P of E3 into P of A given E3. That is the Bayes theorem. In this question, however, we have 3 such terms, and so therefore, since the common denominator is P of E1 into P of A given E1 plus P of E2 into P of A given E2 plus P of E3 into P of A given E3. So this is the common denominator for all of these terms, so we'll just put that as common. The numerators, if you look at them, it'll be exactly the same. So P of E1 into P of A given E1 plus P of E2 into P of A given E2 plus P of E3 into P of A given E3. You can write them down separately, and you can see that it will correspond to this equation as you add them up. So you'll get this equation. So over here you can see that both the numerator and the denominator are the same. Numerator divided by denominator when both are the same is just equal to plain old 1. So option D, 1, will be our correct answer. Now that concludes this episode of CBSE board exam, where we discussed section 2 of the sample paper published by CBSE for the year 2021. Now, this video is important because here we're discussing the new type of question, the case study question. So these case study questions are really important, and so therefore we have to listen to them a bit closely. So if you really want to watch the previous video or this video again, you can do so by clicking on our playlist in the description box down below. Also, if you want to get more of our useful and interesting content, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel, which is Brain Blitz Audios. So until the next episode, take care, stay safe, bye-bye for now.